وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا ومولانا محمد وبارك وسلم عليه الصلاة والسلام عليك يا سيدي يا رسول الله وعلى آلك وأصحابك يا سيدي يا حبيب الله الصلاة والسلام عليك يا سيدي يا رسول الله وعلى آلك وأصحابك يا سيدي يا نبي الله الصلاة والسلام عليك يا سيدي يا رسول الله وعلى آلك وأصحابك يا سيدي يا رحمة للعالمين. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. After praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and sending infinite salutations, peace and blessings upon the best of creation, the beloved of Allah Almighty, the coolness to our eyes, the purpose of our lives, the reviver of our hearts, the inspirer to our minds, the most honored one, the most praised one, the most revered one, the most beautiful one, none other than Sayyiduna wa Nabiyyuna Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa ala alihi wa ashabihi wa barak wa sallam. We are currently going through the month of Dhul Hijjah. In this month, one of the most beloved and closest companions of the Prophet ﷺ left this world. That companion is none other than the third Khalifa of Islam, the son-in-law of the Prophet ﷺ, Sayyidina Uthman ibn Affan al-Ghani wa Zunnurayn radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. Hazrat Uthman radiyallahu ta'ala anhu was one of the most closest companions of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. We know and we hear a lot of the speakers and scholars talk in much detail about Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq and Sayyidina Umar bin al-Khattab and Sayyidina Ali Mushkil Kusha radiyallahu ta'ala anhum ajma'een. But we very rarely hear about Sayyidina Uthman and who Sayyidina Uthman was, what Sayyidina Uthman achieved, and what makes Sayyidina Uthman so special and so great amongst the companions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Sayyidina Uthman radiyallahu ta'ala anhu's father's name was Affan, and his grandfather's name was Abu al-As, and his great-grandfather's name was Umayyah, and his great-great-grandfather's name was Abdul Shams, and his great-great-great-grandfather's name was Abd Manaf. This great-great-great-grandfather, Abd Manaf, is also one of the great-grandfathers of the Prophet ﷺ as well. So Sayyidina Uthman is related to Nabi al-Islam in a very distant way to the Prophet ﷺ. And the tribe that Sayyidina Uthman belonged to was the Banu Umayyah. He was from the Banu Umayyah tribe. And Nabi ﷺ was from the Banu Hashim. They were from the Banu Hashim tribe. And Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam had links and ties with the Banu Umayyah. Many companions were from the Banu Umayyah as well. Sayyidina Uthman radiyallahu ta'ala anhu was born 6 years after the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And many of you will know that the year Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam was born, that year is very famous and known for the story of the elephant. When the Yemeni king sent an army, or he himself came with an army to Makkah Mukarramah with a number of elephants to destroy the Kaaba. And that year which Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam was born is the year in which this event took place. 6 years after this event, Sayyidina Uthman radiallahu anhu was born. So Hazrat Uthman was 6 years younger than the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Sayyidina Uthman was from a very wealthy family. His father was a very rich businessman of his time, and Sayyidina Uthman inherited a lot of this. And he himself, Hazrat Uthman, was a very famous and very popular and very renowned businessman of his time. I've mentioned this many a times before that, you know, today they have the Forbes magazine. And in the Forbes magazine, they tell you the richest in the world, who the richest billionaires are, and what is the richest business in the world, and so on and so forth. If they had the Forbes magazine in that time, then the companions of the Prophet ﷺ, most notably and namely Sayyidina Uthman, Sayyida Khadija, Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiyallahu ta'ala anhum, they would be the richest of their time. They would top this list. The amount they were worth, their assets, Allah had blessed them with a great amount of wealth. Allah Ta'ala blessed these companions with great amount of wealth. And there were other companions who weren't as wealthy as them.